Welcome to Tips for Clips. Today I'll be showing you how to give an undercut skin fade. We're going to start with the trimmer that we usually use for shape ups. This will give us a really close cut. You want to make a line, but you don't want to make it too strongly so that it's a little easier to fade later on. And underneath that line, you're going to cut as close to the scalp as you can. And this is going to give us a nice clean look for our skin fade. So this haircut is called an undercut because the hair on top is so long that a lot of times when it's styled or combed over, it looks like it's only cut underneath on the sides. This is also technically a skin fade because on the sides we are going down to the scalp, and it can be referred to as a mid fade or medium fade because, as you can see, the fade line is not going to be too high or too low. Regardless, I'll show you all the tips you need to get to the final product that you see. And just like the last haircut I posted, make sure it's all clean before moving on to the next step. Let me take a moment here to explain the lever settings on the clippers because it's going to be really important for this haircut and frankly for all haircuts. This is on the short setting, that's the middle setting, that's the longer setting. Again, that's middle and that's the cut shorter. So here I've attached clip number 1 and it's on the long setting. So it's as though I'm using a 1.5. So you can see why it's really important to know how to use the lever. So we're going to go along with the 1.5 all around until it's smoothly faded into the longer hair on top. The reason I've been saying that this haircut is a little more technically advanced is because we only have about 1 inch to 1.5 inches of space to fade between the 0 and the 1.5. The next step, we'll be using the same one clip, but this is going to be on the short setting. So I just call this a plain 1. And we're going to want to go all around just like we've been doing. Not going beyond where we went with the 1.5, but going just under that. Next, we'll be taking off all the clips, or some people refer to them as guards, and we'll be directly using the clipper blade. The lever here is long, so it's as though we're using a half. Just like in our previous step, you're not going to want to go above where you cut with the last clip. So right now with the half, we're not going to want to go above where we went with the number 1. Next step, we're still using the bare clipper blade, but the lever setting is in the middle. So I guess you can call it a quarter, but the point is that it's less than a half. And it's at this point that you see the fade beginning to form. And as always, we'll go all around. So for this next step, we're still going to be using the clipper blade, but it's going to be set on the shortest setting. So to keep consistent with the terminology that we've been using, this would technically be considered a 0, but a 0 on the clipper machine that we're using here is a little bit longer than that red trimmer machine that we used at the beginning. So that's why we're going to use this 0 as the final tool in blending up from the scalp. Also, you'll have to pardon my poor barber etiquette here because I should have a comb on hand. So in theory, I'd be done here, but it is really important with haircuts like these to give some final touch-ups. First, I'm going to be using the 1.5, and you can see the fade looks good right now, but you're going to see the difference after we add these touch-ups. An important tip when touching up is to use the corner of the clipper machine. You could see I'm using it here. It's giving me a lot of control and a lot of flexibility. It's allowing me to be deliberate on exactly where I'm touching up so I don't touch up a place that I don't want to touch up. And you can see the fade is really coming in here. And with other areas, of course, you can use the entire width of the clipper. Touching up is really up to your judgment to give you the final product that you want. Here I'm touching up with the same clip or the same guard, but it's on the short setting, so I'm touching up with the number 1. You can notice with touching up we're using all the same clips we used before, which makes it easy and low risk. And lastly, I'm touching up with the half. Again, that's the clipper without any clips on it, without any guards on it, and the lever setting is in the long position. Same corner touch-up technique. So you can tell that initially the fade was pretty good after our first few steps, but after touching up, the fade is exactly where we want it to be. And that's all there is to this pretty complicated haircut. In the next frame, you're gonna see that I wet and styled his hair. All I haven't shown you is the shape up, but I have a video already out on that, and more like it to come. In this final frame here, you can see that I've shaped up his beard and trimmed it with a level 1. Be sure to subscribe and spread the word. I will be releasing more videos, more advice, more tips, more techniques, and I will see you then.